of smoke on us, therefore that means we're welcome. Okay, and as we get closer, you'll notice that I'll start clapping.
Yeah.
And I did that when I went onto your site too. That's to let them know I'm coming. Then we get to the tree, I've got to go and talk to the spirits and introduce you to them. We have to do this old way. Mind you, this is nearly all old way, but Shane won't rub sticks together anymore. Once we get this... Come on mate, we're all watching.
Come on, mate.
Alright. Now the brown ones are to get the fire going, these are the ones that give us the smoke. Put a couple of those on. Okay, and we'll start smoking ourselves. Evan, you go first, show everyone how to do it. Good smoke. And make sure you put some on your head. Okay, just come on through. One at a time. When you finish, stand down the other side so we know you're finished. Oh, you smoked yourself before.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Oh, okay, I shouldn't have insulted you guys by explaining you how to smoke yourself. Okay, next up, let's go. A few bits and pieces. So that's the only time anyone's ever lived close to this site, but that was in the 1930s, and it was gone by then. And since then, all of it we drove from Kariong, wasn't here 20 years ago. It's all brand new, so this is really out. This was out in the back of nowhere. Or, as Billy Carson calls it, where did he say we took him to?
The outback.
The outback. On his show he went up. It's massive, it's sacred. Women's tree, but what's got to happen is everyone here has to go and put their hands on the tree. That's obligatory. While you're doing that, I'll go over there and I'll speak.
Oh, that's new. Yeah, we'll never get back into that. Oh, they scratched that in with a chisel, but see what happened? They scratched it in with a chisel. See how crude it is compared to that? That wasn't done by a chisel.
Yeah.
Now the accepted explanation for this, it was done by a deranged Czech with reduced mental capacities who walked out of here one day with a chisel. See those glyphs up there? I want you to try to imagine if you're a deranged Czech, how you reach them. It goes up to there, further up again. Well, there's a lot. With Proto-Egyptian, that manual got Chekhov's. So here was the first document compiled in 1999. And the deranged Czech was supposed to be here in 1975. And on the back side, this side here, That's aggressive. This is wall 2. Wall 1 did have a roof across the top and they blew it up. It's now exposed. Now, you notice something about this? Can you see which way all the glyphs there face? And they face in the opposite direction? Now, the experts in Australia said the cartouches are done incorrectly. Well, cartouches are done in squares. That's a serect when they're in rectangles. And they're facing in the opposite direction to the flow of most of these other ones. And
Stephen, where are we at?
sorry?
Where are we at?
Where we're at a place called Kariong, and this is actually the glyphs of Kariong. And we've got one wall there, another wall there, and a third wall up there. And what we found is the wall up there was most likely inscribed by Egyptians, and it's a different style to this, completely different. Auntie Bev told us, and she is the last full descent Darkinghong elder, she told us that our people did this. We created this, and when the Egyptians came here, they were inspired and they took a lot of this back and made their own story. And it starts up there with Nefertitib and Neferturu. Down here, this was much lower. This has all been filled up with fill, a lot of fill. It was much lower down. In fact, a glyph over there, just down there, is gone. It's disappeared completely. And that was really bad what happened here. But anyway, that's what happened. But that's still here.
How many hieroglyphic symbols?
Around 300 here. But there's another set of glyphs, because they all say this was fake and it was done by a deranged Czech, not my words, what they've written down, in 1975, walking out of here with a chisel. No hammer, no ladder, just a chisel. And therefore he did it all. But no one saw him do it, he just walked out with it. A lot of people have come here and defaced this at many different times. But if you look at that, the masonry involved in that, and to cut this into this wall, there's somebody that's done this that knows their business. They're not just some punter off the street wandering around with a chisel saying I'm going to make a story. It's quite stunning. And there's a couple of circles, and I'll show you a couple more, where the circles are complete like an arc and there's no straight line like a chisel. So we're looking at stuff there that I think is incredibly ancient. It's, how can I put this? It's a story about creation. This one here.
Where does the story start?
Over here. And I thank Laird Scranton for this. It starts with this stick man. Now what we found with Laird Scranton, did some study on this, is there are around about 50 Dogong glyphs here. Now the road here is called Bambara. Now Bambara, if you look up Wikipedia, which has got everything in there, it will tell you Bambara's got two entries. One is a road in Gosford, and the other one is the neighbouring tribe to the Dogong. Now we've got about 50, according to Laird, 50 glyphs here that are Dogong, and the road is called Bambara. I believe this is a, how can I put this? It's a sacred place for everybody. And when we look at this particular one there, according to the Dogong, that means first man, black man, first man. Okay, and as you go down there, you'll start to see a couple of things take place, particularly once you look at this one here. And you'll see the first time she's got the 3 there. Now in Proto-Egyptian, that's the symbol for chemistry. But when we go down to this one, he's now developed 2, a bit stronger, 2 arms. When we run down to this one here, he's got even stronger. It's if he's growing. Then you come across to this piece here, which I believe is some word for, this means to give life. And that one, I believe, is some sort of laboratory where things are taking place. And that means sacred place, and the star is placed there. The stars are very important. And what we will find, and there's one just down there, is this is the most common glyph you're going to find there.
And that would be?
Well, the public, we'll see what the public call it. The public call these 8 glyphs, there's 8 like that, the UFO glyphs. All right? And of course there's a major story about a sighting of UFOs here in 1990, where thousands of people saw UFOs hovering over here and over the water here. So what that is, and this one here, I think that's the splicing of genes. I think this is a story about creation. Down here, you've got the word that means majesty. You've got something going on in some sort of construction. And of course up here you've got the, I'm sure you're familiar with that one, the Sphinx. Okay, that's been drawn there too.
Now,
And
you would say that this is a rather simple hieroglyphic symbols
yes,
before they become more sophisticated
that is exactly
over the
right.
time.
Yeah. And you've seen the manual, they called it Proto-Egyptian, which is the precursor, the beginning, the base from which the hieroglyphs evolved. Now I never until Auntie Bev told us this, because she didn't say it for a long period of time, she said, this is ours. We wrote this. That is theirs, the Egyptians, and I'll show you that section in a second we go up there. That last panel there, particularly the first half of it, I got 100% match up the Proto-Egyptian, but down here I got 42%. So more than half of these glyphs aren't in the manual. And that's because this is the beginning. This is where we started doing this. And of course we will take you and show you another set of glyphs that are separate to this, and we're not done by this mob, we're not done by this mob, but we're done by another mob again, because it's so different than the way it's made and the way it's cut. So you're looking at multiple authorship of this at different times. Now I can tell you what the women did here. Auntie Bev, who was the last full descent woman, and what she says is gospel. She said the women would come here for thousands of years, and this sounds a bit gross, but it's not, and they would coat it with their urine, women's urine, and they said it would clean it and honour it. Not men. No, we couldn't stand there and do what we do. It wasn't that way. And they would sit in here and do a ceremony. But I can also tell you something else, which is interesting about this place. If we were to leave you here on your own for 5 minutes, where's Evan? Hey Evan,
Yes.
if I was to leave a lady in here for 5 minutes, what would happen to them?
Nausea, cramps, people having to lift her out. There's just something in here that doesn't agree. But fine in mixed company. But by itself, never works for some reason.
It could be because you're not coating it with women's urine and expecting that. It didn't happen. I'm not really sure on that. But I can tell you, if you look back now, you'll see the curved tree. This is the tree we came from. But this, to me, is, I've been told by my elders, this is one of the most important sites in this country, if not the world. When they knew about that explosion was taking place, they were petrified they were destroying the site. They have damaged the site, but they haven't destroyed it.
Now, Stephen, you think different authors, different time periods, approximately half of the symbols match hieroglyphic writings in Egypt?
The ones up there, it's 95%.
Okay.
Down here, much less.
You did mention dogons. Is there a star connection here
Oh,
on
absolutely.
those symbols?
Oh, got you. Everything, everywhere we go, there's always this connection up there, and I think I mentioned this before. My elder told me, and that elder, Kano Walker, is probably the most important Olway elder in this country. He told me if I go onto a site and I can't make a star connection, leave the site because it's not legitimate. I mean, there's a star there, just to make it clear if anyone wasn't sure what this is about, but it's everywhere. Original people believe that we are related to the Pleiadians. We have one dreaming story that goes to every tribe in Australia, because all our dreaming stories are tribal, region specific. But the story of the 7 sisters of Pleiades is in every dreaming story, and I've been all over the country. And all the sacred sites, they've always got the 7 sisters side, and it's considered the most sacred. So yes, everything relates to there. If it doesn't relate to there, it shouldn't be here. I mean, that one there means crystal ship. What sort of crystal ship do original people have? Well, they do, but we don't, but they do. And that's about it arriving here. So yes, it's everywhere, without exception.
Your experience talking to the original people.
Thank you. I love you saying that, because we call ourselves original, not Aboriginal.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
original meaning not original, but they're actually original.
Yeah.
Normal and abnormal.
That's
not
why
normal.
we don't like the ab. Yeah, thank you. Thank
Original.
you for that. I really appreciate that.
Now, talking to them, you got the feeling that they can read those symbols here? They can read the story? Or they're just trying to understand?
Auntie Bev knew more than anyone else because she sat on the shoulders. They call it Little Miss Bossy when she was a kid, and she went with them and they taught her. She knew bits of it. She knew bits. But now, nobody. They're gone. I mean, those flag signs mean God. This is an incredibly spiritual story. It's got 2 or 3 stories. It's got creation in there. It's got a story about the spirits, and it's got a story about the mob from up there. And some of our UFOs are plummeting. They're not like that. They're with the legs up and the body is pointing down. And that's the story of the story we've heard from our elders about the spaceship that crashed in Bambara. And I think this side's much harder to see as a result of it. So when we see those UFOs plummeting, and I've got to try and find the damn things now. Let me have a look. Where are they? Well, there's another one.
Yeah.
Here's another one going the right way around there.
Yeah.
It's got 5 arms, and that's traditional. But I'll try and find the one that's crashing the other way around. It's somewhere. There's another.
Here's one smaller one.
Ah, there's another one again.
Yeah.
5 again.
Yeah.
5 arms. Always 5 arms with dots down the bottom. That's. Evan, where's the crashing one?
What's that, sorry?
Where's the crashing UFO?
Yeah, okay.
Another small one.
Oh, wow.
Let's go in this. Okay.
Sorry. Where is it? We'll find it.
Yeah, because we're used to it being up here.
I know.
This
Could be
one,
lower.
it's definitely on this side.
I know it is. I know.
I'll just
Where is it?
come through.
I'll
see
take
if
you
I
up
can-
next to the other section there. I'll show you some carving. That's.
There's one.
Yeah, we've done
There's
that.
an
No,
upside down
I
one
want
there.
the. No, is that an upside down
That's
one?
an upside down one there.
Oh, good. That's good.
Next
At least
to
there's
it.
one.
So you were saying that he's got.
Oh, so there's another one there.
Yeah. And then it got stronger with the arms.
Because there's about
That's
6.
how it ends up.
Yeah, yeah.
It ends up with wings because the three circle person ends up flying.
Yeah.
And at the moment, holding the pyramid. See the pyramid he's holding there on that hand?
Yeah.
But further on he grows and he becomes fully enlightened and he flies. Yeah, so it's a gradual process. But to tell me some deranged person with an IQ of 70, I walked in here and did this, it's like an insult to my intelligence, but mainstream have accepted that as a legitimate excuse for what happened. But I mean, I'm going to show you another set of glyphs that tell me where the burial took place.
Yeah.
And by the way, they filled up the burial chamber. There was a 10-metre chamber underneath there you could walk through. They filled it up completely. They destroyed it. 10 metres. You can stand in it. And so it was the size where you could put a combi in there. It was that big. And it ran up right up against that wall. And they filled the whole thing up and destroyed it. This country is the worst. I reckon any other country in the world, you'd have a better chance being an archaeologist than here. It's shocking. Now up here, there. Now we've got a problem with this one because that's fake. Do you know what? I had a 6-year-old kid here that came once and I said, pick the fake one. He said, that one. Straight away.
Different font.
And also, all the gods are done in symbolic form, like sitting like that, or the flag. They're not done in specific feature form like that. And you can see how that's been cut and how this has been cut, completely different. Now, what I find interesting are the circles. This one here and that one there. That's where you're starting to push the story about chisels. And there's the Serek. And that one actually reads Nefer-Djeb, who was the son of Khufu. Now two sons came, Nefer-Djeb and Neferturu, and Neferturu died. He got bit by a snake, twice according to that, which is really difficult to find. Once I understand, but twice is really poor form to be honest, but he got bitten twice.
How about mushroom?
And what do you notice about this one? See this one here? And that one. I'll give you a clue. Look at the foot
Look at which way it faces.
Mm.
And look at that one. Which way does it go?
Yeah.
Opposite direction. I'm told the wisdom of Thoth is written in mirror reverse. That is about Nefer-Dezheb to there, and you can see the difference in the size once you get over here. I believe this is where, from this side it's 95%, on that side it drops back a fair bit. I believe they were given this area, and you can see the area, to tell their story, which they did there. And I believe this was done by Nefer-Dezheb or Nefertaru's mob. Once you go to there, I'm reversing it. I don't believe the same person who did that.
Mm.
Different person. So basically what they said, they wrote their story here about the two boats, and there's the boats there. See that one there? Stranded. And they landed here. And we looked after them. We cared for them because they were pretty knocked up, because they'd already gone down to Wollongong and they'd been attacked there, and some of them been killed. So they made their way up here pretty knocked up, and then the boats got wrecked here. And when we looked after them, and then they repaired their boats. But Nefertaru never left, because I've got his bone. I'll show it to you when we go to Byron Bay, because I didn't bring it up on the plane. And I've also got a metal artefact that was found here, which is 72% aluminium, 3% copper, and 24% not on the periodic table. And do you know what the scientist said, because I got it analysed by a university? He said to me, this metal is harder than steel. He said, if you could make this, you could make billions of dollars. I said, no, I can't. And he told me the same thing. He said, we tried everything to find where that 24% come from. It just doesn't come from here. And that was found just around the corner near the burial site with the bone. And I've had the bone analysed in a base hospital. And they told me, they were going to give it 6 times the normal dosage on the CAT scan thing, because of the fact the patient won't complain, and came back and told me then it's got the same density as a human bone and it's ancient. If I had mitochondrial DNA done it, it'd be Egyptian. But do you think I could get that done in this country? In no way.
And the lichen growth in the grooves is important as a...
Yeah, that was something
thing.
Von Daniken picked up.
Von Daniken
He
mentioned
said
that
some
one.
of this lichen here is hundreds of years old. How can they say it's 50 years old? They're idiots. Oh, and then he said a lot of other things about it. But basically what he was saying is some of the lichen here, you get an expert here to look at it, and I'll tell you, you can date this in the hundreds of years, not 10, 20, 30. And it just isn't. It's just what it is. And of course, we'll go up further and there's more. Now what I'm going to take you to next is the one time where I'm going to give you all the quiz, and I think no one's going to get it, even you. I think this time is the first time I'm going to feel like I got one on you. We're going to take you to another site that proves this is legitimate, because the argument is about this site. And what's happened is I've seen pictures of that without the ears on it. So see how they use it? They've done this deliberately. They've come in and done this, put the cross on there, the whole business, and then they've said it's fake because it's done like that. But you look at that, and you look at everything else, and that's the biggest bloody thing anywhere. And of course there is one thing that's buried down there now, just there, where Evan's standing, that's gone. And
Yeah, when they filled in the wall, they covered it. Filled in the floor, I should say.
here's what it did look like. That's a really important glyph. I believe that's the most important glyph there. That's golden staff there, and I believe that's the creation. That woman has got a big stomach. I think that's really important, and I think that's a baby. So that one they covered up because they don't want that one out there. By the way, that's not in it's not in hieroglyphs, or it's not in anything else. It's just their story. All right. Now, film that for as long as you want. We won't go until you've got all the film you want from that. Thanks, mate. I don't need to look at it again because I've seen it before. I'm getting too old for this game.
Particularly in bombs.
Yes, we've had people in thongs up here, haven't we?
Yes.
Shane had to catch a lady that was falling down the hill.
Oh yeah, we carried.
She was 80 something.
Oh.
And those glyphs, no one's spoken about. Now I have told the authorities about it and they won't look at it. Because if they did, because we've read that one.
Oh, mind you, right where we're standing used to be the entrance to
It's a 10 metre tunnel, about this wide, and if you stood in it, your head would be down there, it wouldn't be up here. It's about 8 feet deep, and then when you go past there, it goes 10 metres all the way across there, and we have film of it. I've got photographs of it, and I can tell you on one occasion we came here and they'd filled the whole thing in with rocks. And when we got there, I can tell you guys, but I'll be very careful about this, there was a guy that worked in a mine, wasn't there? And they put up a jack and a tripod and they pulled out every rock. Pulled it all out.
So-
and I had to come in here with the camera on saying, oh my God, what's happened here? I had to put on this faux shot of, oh look, it's all the rocks have been put there. Let's go inside and film it and have a look.
So
Because
yeah, you've got right angles. The walls are straight, the roof is straight. And then underneath that's another chamber. And I had the end of the rope. He was in it, and then he just started swearing. And he's like, "Pull!" I pulled him out, and he said,
spiders,
"What's the fun with spiders?"
all crawling all over him.
Oh,
It was a spinal web nursery,
oh
and
my
he was
goodness.
crawling through it, and he was screaming out, "Get me out of here!" But it's like this. They're two straight walls like that, and it goes to high. It's about this high. Then when it gets into the cavern there, it's about 2.5 meters high. It was dug out, and there's no fill anywhere. And finally, quite recently, for a long time, National Parks and Wildlife said it was natural, didn't they?
Yeah.
Then they finally gave up and said it was done by vandals. I'm thinking the vandals from Europe or the ones here. And then I'm thinking to myself, these vandals, when they did this, they cleaned up all the fill for us and didn't tag it.
Very constructive.
Oh, they are. But it's good that they didn't tag it and put their name on it and spoil it, isn't it? That would vandals wouldn't do that, wouldn't they? They wouldn't sign their name. But we're going to take you now. It's only about 1 minute walk, and then we're going to go up there, and we'll go and we'll look at the map and the two spiritual sites. I'm particularly interested in how you two ladies go. So follow me now. Just watch your head when you go down there. A couple of times I've tried to headbutt this and it doesn't work. And they put rocks in here that made it harder.
Down here if you want.
All these rocks weren't here. Hello. Hi. Good to see you. You might notice something here too, Dr Sam. Listen to the birds. You haven't heard one. No animals, ever, except lizards. We just had 3 that just met me then. There's no birds here. No wallabies, no snakes, nothing. Fucking hell. Sorry. Far out. Shit. Someone's destroyed part of this site. Sometimes why I'm doing this anyway. Okay.
When was the last time you were here?
Oh,
Couple of years,
ago. I've been here
couple of
a few
months.
times, a couple of months ago. Come up close. I'm going to try and I'm going to do something with you guys here. I'm going to give you an archaeological test.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of hoping that one person here fails it. Because I've got the highest opinion of you as an archaeologist of anyone I've ever met. But you can't be perfect. I'm not going to have that. I'm going to make sure you can't get this one right. Okay, you mob, come over here for a sec. pardon me, I'm into my teacher mode. Don't get too far up that hill, please. That would be cheating. And we don't want people cheating. Okay. Where we are now is the proof that that site over there is legitimate. Now, I want you to look up here, and I can see that there's been someone who's been here to create more damage, and I'm sort of used to it, but I don't like it. I want you to see if you can find for me what's happened here. There's something up here, there's a clue that tells you we're near a very sacred site. Can anyone see what it is?
It's not that circle up there, is it?
Oh, good start. Who said that?
That's me.
Right, okay. I want you to imagine, now that was done with a hammerstone. I want you to imagine how they did it. You've got to hold that. They take around about 900 to 1,000 percussion bowl points before it actually formed up like that. There's a big question about how in God's name that was done. Now secondly, that is not a star map. The star ones are always circular, that's more elliptical, which tells me it's called a dialanthem according to Arnie Baird. A dialanthem means we're near an incredibly sacred site. So, can anyone see that incredibly sacred site? Don't walk up any further, I don't want you cheating. If anyone does get it, you get a special reward because no one has ever seen it yet.
It's not the hole, is it?
Sorry?
It's not the hole, is it?
That hole there.
Yeah.
That's not it.
No.
But I can tell you someone's dug there because of that sacred site,
Yeah, right.
looking for treasure.
Yeah.
See all this? This was dug out.
Yeah, right.
There's no respect for archaeology in Australia. I mean, I'm sure this wouldn't happen in Bosnia, but it happens here all the time. Anyway, okay, can anyone see it? I'm going to give you a clue now. Part of it's been destroyed. Look up where there's just destruction.
I have the feeling that
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up here and we'll do this in twos because you can only get two people up here because there's a gaping hole in here. Okay, and Dr Sam, do you want to come up first? And two people. Right. And what I'm going to do, don't fall in the hole for God's sake, whatever you do. Come on up as best you can. Now, here it is. Different writing, okay, different creation, but we got someone when this was actually starting to wear away a fair bit. We found out that that glyph there is Egyptian and it represents the staff carried by the pharaoh or the son of the pharaoh in death. You've got the coffin up here somewhere, and that means, according to Proto-Egyptian, back shaft or back door. You know that back shaft we spoke about? The son of the pharaoh, Nefertari, is laying in that coffin. And what do we have over there? Even though it's been scratched over again, but don't work on it, that's his insignia. Can I see a scorpion there?
Yeah.
Now, we don't have scorpions in Australia, but they do in Egypt. Now, that's been scratched over, but I can tell you I went there at a time before it was scratched over and it was natural. So people are going to say it was done recently. No, some idiot came and redid it. But you know what the most amazing part of this is? Not the glyphs. There's something else here. And you know, I went here 6 times and never saw it until someone said, they watched it on film and said, what's that? And I said, what are you talking about? Can you see it? It's next to him. Keep looking. Don't go there, go away a bit, go to this side. That. Now watch this. Let me get. How do I do this properly?
yeah.
Is that natural? Look,
Nah.
there's an overhang here.
Yeah.
The water would go past here. This has been protected because there's an overhang here and we're in a sort of an enclosed area. But how did this happen here? That, I don't know how deep it is, but I reckon that I think I've gone to 1 metre and I'm still going. And what's that? And how did they do it? What, with a chisel? The deranged Czech did this. And you can see this is a different script, can't you? Completely different from all the other scripts. So how many people have we got here now? 4. It's not one person. And no one ever said the deranged Czech come up here and did this because they don't know about it. Oh, this person does.
Yeah.
because he's looking for that staff. We know about that because he was found doing it.
Yeah, right.
He's come back twice. Evan, he came back a second time and went again.
Oh, did he?
Oh, that's a metre and a half. Yeah.
Because I hopped in a hole last time. I'm not hopping it this time, but I actually climbed it. Oh, there's a little lizard in there. Yeah. And that, I don't know if that was cracked off last
No, it
time.
wasn't. It's been done, it's been broken. Next two up, we'll do two at a time only. And I'll do a special doing the one for the gentleman at the back. Will we?
Oh, look, I'm going to...
13. When the other lady I'm sorry, I used to take people on excursions. I look up on excursions. And I have a roll call and I'm too short on the roll. You're sitting over there. Huh? You're just sitting over there. Sitting over there. Are they? Might be having a rest.
Oh, no, they're coming.
Alright. Let me take you to something you probably want to film.
Tell us about those stars.
Oh,
Or
sorry, yeah.
circles. What do they represent?
Yes. We'd heard about this.
So we got one here.
Yeah, sure. We'd heard stories about a
One there.
map that Sydney Uni had, and the story was a guy called Paul White came here to look at the glyphs, didn't believe in them, but someone went up here and they mapped all of these 13 star markers. And what happened was, the story was they were actually dated, but no one, and it was dated by Sydney Uni, who's one of the top unis in Australia. They denied it. They denied they did it. So we dismissed it. And then one day I got a hard copy. And it was Sydney Uni, 2500 BC. And it told me at 12 o'clock in the night, about the 25th of July, that was the correct star map, which turns out to be 4,600 years ago, which happens to be the time of the reign of Khufu, because the story was two of the sons came there. Now this was not done by Egyptians. It was done by original people. And my argument has been, this is directly above the glyphs. And when the Egyptians first came here, they marked this out to commemorate their arrival, because it was an important event. They came here. So those 13, I've got the map, and when we get up to Byron, I'll find it and I'll show it to you, and we can take a picture of it and put it in there. And it's got them written on it, and they definitely did it. But what they said is, they basically played dumb and said, oh look, we know something about it, but we don't know where it is. Well, they were lying, because it was sent to me, and it definitely has got, they've done it. So that means that will be one of the oldest star maps in the world, to begin with, even if it wasn't commemorating that. And this alone would make this site worth saving, because if it's not the oldest, it'd be one of the oldest star maps that's been dated by a university at 2500 BC, which is around 4,600 years ago. So therefore, what we're looking at is proof that something amazing happened around here at that time. And what do we have? We've got the glyphs over there that tell us someone was buried. The son of a pharaoh was buried. They pointed in a direction and said, go to the back shaft. Well, we can't go to the back shaft now, can we? It's been pulled up by National Parks and Wildlife, thank you so much for that. But it was there, and I've got pictures of it. And as you know, I've got a bone that came from there and an artefact that came from there, so we can prove that's legit too. So therefore, this is just another piece of this puzzle. And what you've got to try and do with this is not just look at the glyphs, look at all the things around it, and you complete a picture. So what this is another part of this story of something amazing that happened here a long, long time ago. Now,
How many stars has he mapped? What do you think? How many stars? What star constellation we are talking about?
well, I've got to be honest, I don't really know and I didn't count it, but the best way to solve that
is I'll get the copy of it when we're up at Byron Bay. I'll show it to you. Okay, and it gives me more details there because I've just looked at it, and I've got to be very honest. I go out at night and I can't even find the Southern Cross. I'm useless with stars. I have got no idea. I know where Venus is because it doesn't twinkle, and that's my sum total there, and I want to be very honest about that. So I looked at it and said, well, thank God for that. It's been confirmed. But I'll get the map. We've got it, haven't we, Evan? Yeah. We'll look at it and we can get more detail with it. But what it does, and of course because Sydney Uni denied that they did it, but they did, just shows you that it must be legit. I mean, if they did it and marked it out and saw the date, they would have thought, well, oh, no, we don't want this. And what you'll find also is over there, there's a puddle. Remember what I told you before about over here when we do the puddles, it's so we get a reflection of the stars above? I would say to you that 4,600 odd years ago when these Egyptians turned up, they came up here, they looked at that puddle, and they marked out those stars and put them just here to commemorate the fact they came. Now you ask the original people, the Egyptians here, I ask Gunny Bev and you ask most of them, I'll tell you the same thing. Of course they were. But they came here to learn from us. And they didn't learn how to build pyramids, don't worry, they got that up there. They didn't learn about technology, they came here to learn earth magic. And our custodians were the keepers of that. And the Egyptians wanted to know about the afterlife, they wanted to know about spirituality. And that's why it was the sons of the pharaohs who came here. This is not a trip for most people. My understanding of what I've been told is they would sail down the coast of Africa when the roaring 40s were working and then catch the 40s and race across to Tasmania because it just wind would take them that way. They went to Kangaroo Island and Tasmania and then come up the east coast. And they came up the east coast and the first place they came to was here, and when they came back further they also went to Sydney. And if they came into Sydney they went inland. If they came up here they stayed around here. They go to Kangaroo Island, they went to South Australia. There were stopping points for them. And they were here until 400 years ago. And an elder I met recently told me the story about how they left. His name was Walangari, wasn't it?
Yes.
Walangari, I can use his name. He told me. He's a Pitch and Jatjara man. And he told me that 400 years ago they came, the priests came. But you've got to remember 400 years ago, this is not the priests from Khufu or any of them. It's a different mob, isn't it? And they've got different sensibilities. They came to Sydney and they went inland, Pitjantjatjara country, which is right in the middle of Australia. And it was there they stole 4 rocks. And as you people know, hey, where is my rock? Huh? Oh, thank God for that. Thanks, mate. Okay, they stole. I'm not very well organised, am I, Evan?
No.
Thank you. They stole 4 rocks, and I was told by Walangari 2 of the rocks had cuneiform on them. You see why they're important. And they went back, and what happened was when they went back, the warriors, the Pitjantjatjara warriors, tracked them, all the way until they came back to the beach. And when they came back to the beach, do you remember what beach it was?
Balmoral.
Thank you. Thank you. That's why I have people around me. Thanks, mate. Balmoral Beach. They killed them. They speared them all and told the Egyptians they were never to come back. And they didn't. That was 400 years ago. Then a couple of 100 years later, another set of boats came in. And they tried to tell them not to come back, but they did. And that was called the British. But until then, the Spanish have been here and left. The Chinese have been here and left. But when the British came, and the French came 2 days later, they came and landed on the other side on La Perouse. And then there was a war that took place, and the French left, and they all died on the way back. But the moral of the story was this: we invited different people to come to our country over millennia. They were welcome to come here as apprentices to learn from our keepers the old way, the magicians, the clever women, the clever fellas. And we were happy to share our magic with them, unless they broke the law. The Phoenicians didn't stay as long, they were here too. And we know all this, and if you ask any elder, they'll tell you the same story. But we try and tell the white fellas that. They won't listen. They won't listen. So our job is to try and find some proof so they will listen. And that hasn't worked out well, has it? Anyway, that's about it.
May I ask,
Yeah.
like,
Here I am in Gosford, Brisbane Water National Park, Australia. Hour-and-a-half drive from Sydney. I've had the enormous pleasure to spend the day with Stephen and the wonderful crew of very nice people from Australia. We are coming to this site, which is important and sacred site for the original people of Australia. Wonderful forest. You can see petroglyphs. You can see these rocky outcrops which have been used in the past. And one more element which has become rather controversial in the past few decades. According to the non-scientific sites like Wikipedia, and of course today Wikipedia is feeding artificial intelligence, what you can read about the site is that this is a place where the false hieroglyphic writings have been carved into some of the walls of huge rocks. I came today and I was thinking while filming this, we have really hundreds, around 300 of hieroglyphic symbols on the walls. And what's said by the mainstream science and archaeologists from the nearby universities is that it's been done deliberately a few decades ago, probably 1970s, because this is the time when people started talking about it. Before that, they claimed it was done during the 1920s by one man. However, if you look carefully, you will be able to see different depths of those grooves, of those carvings, telling us that probably different tools, different people, different times. Even the story that's been told is different. So most probably that we have a combined effort of different people over different time periods. According to our friend Stephen, most of the hieroglyphic symbols match Egyptian. In 2 out of 3 of those tables, about 50%. One of them even 90%. However, he thinks that one big presentation of one of the Egyptian deities is a hoax. It was deliberately done to actually give a proof to the official science to claim that the whole site and the whole thing is a hoax. I'm not a big expert in Egyptian writings, even though I've been going to Egypt for so long. What I could notice is that it's a rather simplified form of the hieroglyphic symbols, meaning it does belong to the older times or to the older form of Egyptian writings. Also, some of them are kind of very intriguing for me. Maybe they do show some of the UFOs, maybe. Hard to say at this point. You know, when you deal with the symbols, symbols do have meaning. They are not as simple as our alphabet, our writings. Our writings, A, B, C, those letters, they don't have meaning. But behind the symbols there is a story. And especially if you put those symbols together, one next to each other, then there is a synergy. They form another meaning. So one has to be really expert to understand that. So this is one part, which is a major part. But then the next part, you can see that obviously somebody was making passageways, again, within the natural, materials, natural, rocky hill. Somebody was making passages, somebody was using it, and then there is another side where he thinks, I would say with the right, that there was a story about potential burial of some of the rulers. It is very possible. And then we are coming to this side, where we can see several circles. Behind there is a spiral, and there is one elongated piece over there. What do they represent? Is it possible that they talk about the celestial movements about the star constellations, well, it is possible. So it is thing after thing after thing. And if true, the last statement at the University from Sydney did analyze layout of those circles and compare it to the night sky, and then they got results of approximately 4,550 years. Now that would be much more than coincidence. As you know, the pharaoh of the 4th dynasty, named Khufu or Cheops, was ruling exactly 4,550 years back. Is it possible that really the ancient Egyptians were sailing, coming all the way down under to Australia? Well, I would say it is possible. You know, when you see the length of the boats used in 1492 by Christopher Columbus, that boat was less than 20 meters in length, and he basically sailed across the ocean. And the boat that was discovered at the Giza Plateau was 43 meters in length, meaning this is something that can give us, idea that it is very possible that such a big boat, big ship, can really sail the ocean or even the oceans. Did they come here? Frankly, I do not know. But what I do know is that Australia is much more than white people coming few hundred years back and original people who's been here for a very, very long time. If rocks could only talk, they could probably hear very complex story of many people coming this way, not in big numbers, but yes, with some of the great knowledge. When visiting Gympie Pyramid 6 years back, I realized somebody was able to maneuver with huge quantities of material and shaping the natural hill, making 4 sides, triangular faces, then the support walls, bringing the megaliths to the top of this hill, and then placing 4 other megaliths to the cardinal points. So this is the knowledge that somebody brought. Of course, original people were building their huts, their places to live, but they were not involved in megalithic structures. And then in 1930, in the town of Gympie, the local church did the work around it. They built the wall, and they were using stones which was found who knows where. What I was able to see was that those rocks, the clays, the stone, they were not 4-sided as you would expect, rectangular or square, but they were polygonal. Polygonal blocks with 6 sides or 6 corners, 7, 8, even 12 is something that's been used by the megalithic civilizations, 5,000 plus years. So I think it's very possible that original people were witnessing other civilizations coming here, they were probably in contact with them, and they probably retain some of the knowledge from the distant past. Now, today he mentioned a couple of times Pleiades. The Pleiades are a very intriguing star system. As we know, another star system, which is called Orion, or to be more precise, Orion Belt, is linked to the layout of 3 Egyptian pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Egypt, or Cheops or Khufu, Khafre or Khafre, and Mycerinus or Mycere. So Robert Boal from 1990s, and later on it was taken by Graham Hancock and even Robert Schoch and some others. They claimed that those 3 stars exactly match the layout of the 3 pyramids at the Giza Plateau. Maybe. What I can see is that the 3rd star is always a little bit off from the top of the smallest pyramid. But maybe it is possible, because the ancients were always looking at the star. But in the case of the Bosnian pyramids, what we do know is that the 4 pyramids, 4 pyramid tops, exactly match the layout of 4 stars belonging to the 7 systems, to the star system of Pleiades. And when you look at North America, Navajo Indians, American Indians in general, the Mayan civilizations, especially the Anasazis in the today states of New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, and Colorado, South America, Bolivia, all the way to New Zealand, Australia, Japan, India. Everybody's been talking about the Pleiades. So really, when you think about the star constellations that had the biggest effects, the biggest influence on the people on this planet is actually those 7 sisters. Of course, the Pleiades, most of the nights we can see those 7 lights, 7 stars. Sometimes we can even see 2 more. They are calling them Mother and the Father. In reality, of course, the star system has more than 1,000 stars, but those 7 plus 2 are visible to our naked human eye. So there is a connection. And at the end, original people of the land, it seems that they were visited by someone who told them, it is not the place where you originated, and we can show you the way, how you can trace your ancestors. And it seems that they were teaching them how to do the astral projections, or even more, how to control exit of their souls from the body and trying to find a place somewhere deep in the universe, which was their true home. Aborigines, as they call them, or original people, which is a proper name, it seems that they were able to find it, realizing that it is so much more important than the physical aspect that they were living in. So when the Englishmen came 400 years back, 300 years back, even 200 years back, when they were finding those people with almost no textile, nothing on their bodies, they said, well, these naked people are very, very primitive. They were not aware that those naked people were actually so much more spiritually advanced, with so much more skills and astronomical knowledge that the white people did actually never obtain in few hundred years in front of them. Aborigines, or original people, are talking that they've been here for 1,000 generations. 1,000 generations is about 25,000 years. And guess what? You read those official sources, they will tell you that original people has been around for about 25,000 years. Well, the truth is they've been here around 55,000 years, which will kind of completely change theory about the evolution and movement of the man. But yes, indeed, they've been here for a very long time, and they witnessed so many things going around us. And again, I'm so happy to be here today and to get a feeling, especially in the presence of this guy who's obviously sensitive enough, open-minded enough to try to trace some of those stuff to thousands of years back of our cultural heritage.